It's nuts, because a lot of people will point you in the direction and say, stare at this rock for an hour with me. I swear to God, I see a fucking cheetah eating a rabbit, and the rabbit's ass is shitting out a baboon that's holding onto a raccoon, and they're both singing the same song. And it's like, dude, I don't see it. Let me finish my toast. What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for jumping in to this video today. My name is Danny ColdBlood, aka MusicVidiot, and I am joined here in the wonderful world of Grand Theft Auto 5 to talk some Easter egg / Chiliad Mystery wonderfulness. Fellow Chiliad and brother Shadowman. Shadowman, what's going on, man? Welcome to the channel.
Hey, what's going on, Danny? Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, no problem. Guys, Shadowman is a fellow brother and mystery hunter here in the community. He has a YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and link all his information down below in the description. Make sure you guys check him out, as he has some pretty good information. Such good information that it got me thinking about some new stuff, and I really wanted to go ahead and give him the glory and give him the spotlight and go ahead and show him off on the channel, and hopefully we'll see more of Shadowman in the future. Today is just the first of many episodes to come. So Shadowman, you were just talking to me before we got live, and you were saying something about the mural. You had something new. What exactly do you got going on here? What are you thinking about?
I haven't really had any help, you know, until I started putting videos out, because I felt like that was the only way to start getting some feedback from, you know, other people in the community, just to be able to, you know, say like, hey, what is this? Is anybody else finding this? And you know, is this already been discovered? What is this? And it's funny, that's when I started actually getting some real info, and it was actually watching your guys' mystery show. I think it was Trippy that mentioned this, that kind of messed with me and made me look at the mural a little differently, was the lines on the mural. There's like faded ones on the left side, and there's actually more solid ones on the right. When he mentioned that, like, I started looking at the mural in that way, and then thinking almost like, what if they're telling us it's incomplete? Like that this puzzle or whatever this is representing is not finished. We know Fearless, he's the one that pointed out that there's 6 boxes over at the what looks like a 3D depiction of the mural over at the hippie camp. But right here, there's like that spot for the 6th box, but it's not there.
Right, and I was just
like it's unfinished.
too, man. This is great because if you go straight down on the map, okay, straight down, and I actually brought this up in my last video, that you will be in line with the Sinner's Passage mural down in the city, okay?
No,
yep, right here, like basically it's in line with the roof that you wake up with as Trevor sometimes, and you're looking right at this right here, which is the other mural, which has the same type of maze-like lines in the background of it. It has words in there. It has a whole bunch of symbolism, and you know, there's a lot of shirts and stuff, especially online, that they've given us a lot of clues showing like ancient geometry or geometric this or geometric that, and having stuff on the map lining up perfectly in line with each other is way too coincidental with the clues that they've given us. And you saying that the mural is incomplete makes perfect sense. Maybe that is like, if you fold this map in half, right? If you go to your map and fold it in half horizontally, right? For shit's sake, let's say that the Zancudo River is in the middle of the map. We know it's not, but let's say it is. We fold the map in half, so maybe this mural would fall on the opposite end of this mural almost evenly. Maybe it's like a mirror. You know, they have a lot of clues representing mirrors, Mirror Park even. Maybe it's the other side of the coin. Maybe that other mural is needed with this mural to complete the bigger picture. There was even some puzzles on the game Uncharted 4 that required you to actually fold shit in half like that and look at stuff like that, which is actually what gave me the first idea when looking at this mystery to do something like that. So it actually was another game following similar type of puzzles that got me to figure out more with this game and improve my theories. So I love what you're saying, that this is incomplete, because it does line up with another mural that is very incorporated, very relevant with each other, and it could possibly be just one side of the coin that we're looking at. I love that thought process, Shadow. That is amazing that you took. That's what I'm talking about too. Like, we all talk about stuff, and like, you know, you were saying that you're using basically one source and getting information from your viewers on YouTube, but it doesn't even matter if you're bringing up stuff that's already been brought up before, because I've said before that bringing up old information is never bad, because we're still not solved. This mystery is not completed yet, so bringing up old information is just as relevant as bringing up new information, because we still need to remember all the stuff. There's so much shit going on. A lot of people get on the wrong train of thought, and they think that we need only new information to strive. Oh, if I've already heard that, we don't need that anymore. Oh, fuck that shit. No, we need everything. We need to be reminded of what's been there. We need to be reminded of what's going on, and we still need to want to search for new stuff as well. Don't get me wrong, but I love that you're taking one piece of what someone says and you're actually expanding on it, giving it more thought, and coming up with more stuff that's getting other people's minds working. That's the beauty of going out and doing that and putting yourself in the spotlight, because if you're really trying to do something right here, not just trying to make it famous and not just trying to get some money out of doing a YouTube thing, you're really trying to solve something, you're going to help the community out by bringing some certain things to light. And that's what I love about your channel. You seem like you're doing it for all the right reasons, man, and that's why I had you join up today, because I really think you're in it for the sake of solving this thing. So dude, I love where you're going with this, man. I really do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I have, like, when it comes to credit or anything like that, that is due to the community and the shoulders I'm standing on of all the thoughts that, like, everybody else has done. Like, I wouldn't even be having any of these ideas if I wouldn't have, like, you know, haven't listened to, like, how everybody's been, you know, theorizing about this stuff. I mean, and it's so fascinating too, because I can understand why people would want to cut out new ideas and theories, because this world is so big in GTA 5. There's so many details that it's like there's almost been too much, you know, to where some people are like, no man, I'm just overwhelmed, you know, with already all the old shit, you know, that feels like dead ends. Like, I don't want any new shit. But it's like that's the biggest thing, is we just got to be objective and kind of filter through stuff, you know. And like, we never, like, see, that's what I appreciate about your channel, man, is you talk about the importance of holding on to the clues, you know, like never discounting any clues or any anomalies or any weird stuff we find that's like unexplained, because they're all like something important to be in our toolbox, solving this mystery and figuring this thing out. And that's why you can't discount anything, no matter what it is, no big or small. If it's unexplained to the degree of like Rockstar not coming out and personally saying this is this, this is that, then it is not explained. I don't care who says anything conclusive here or that. It's like, if there's, you know, any reason for, you know, it to be interpreted in a different way, it could be interpreted in thousands of different ways.
They do stress perspective and perception all the time, and they do that for that reason alone, for what you just said. I strongly believe in that. I really do.
And I think I'm going to really trip you out too, because speaking about perspective, I have a theory that this actually depicts a mountain that is not even Mount Chiliad at all.
Ooh, stepping into uncharted territories. What are you going to bring at the table, man? What are you doing here?
Well, we'll bring that up in a little bit. Just stay tuned for that. But
he's going to lay a fucking bombshell on us, guys.
It could be that, or it could be a turd. You guys let me know. So
you can't polish a turd. Just remember that.
Right. I'm gonna also tell you this second thing. I'm gonna try and make this short too. That this was pointed out by Dibs. Okay, you guys are talking about the lightning on the top of the mountain on this mural.
Right.
Now, it said like it could be radio waves, or it could be lightning, right? Or it could represent even maybe something else we're not aware of. Just to be open to possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, these are, as Dibs pointed out, these are reversed.
Right, as you can see.
Which made me think
they all follow a certain pattern. But if you look at this one, say even taking these two and looking at them, you can see that this one on the top right is flipped. You know what I mean? It's like
it's like a mirror image. Okay, so just the basic idea to simplify this, because I could go on about this, but the basic thing is, I have a sense that and I tried this in Photoshop, but I'm terrible at it. I'm learning how to use it like for the past week, you know, because my thumbnails were shit. And I also wanted to start. There's things in the game I needed to start piecing apart. You know, I felt like perspective was really important. There was almost jigsaw puzzles, you know, in the imagery. And I almost thought, what if you split this down the middle, and it's supposed to actually like fold over onto the other side, and then you make one layer transparent, so that you line up the lightning bolts and things like that.
If you do that, the alien ship looks like it's flying, and the jetpack guy looks like they're flying. Maybe that is representing flight or being in some kind of aircraft, and maybe it's just symbolizing the act of flying instead of actually a jetpack guy and a UFO. Maybe that the UFO is just giving us landmarks like the hippie camp. Maybe that's just giving us a landmark, the jetpack guy, of like the altruist camp, but the actual symbolism of what it's trying to tell us, you know, relevant with itself, with the puzzle of itself, is that it's the act of flying or to be in an aircraft, to see something down below in like a bird's eye view or something like that. We did just find that Easter egg of that thing that's up in the sky, miles and miles up in the sky, saying that this does not exist. So it could be, there's so many ways to look at this, man.
One thing that tripped me out was I've been kind of investigating more and more about yoga, and that's going to come into play when I talk about this, where I think this mural is actually representing. Because this Easter egg right here, this cracked egg, why is it actually rectangular? Like a horizontal rectangle rather than more squared like these ones are.
Ooh.
Almost like that might be a yoga mat, maybe? Okay, so there's like what some say, and you know, it's been mentioned. I heard, I think it was you quoting specifically, calling it like, could be like Jesus toast, you know? Just a random glitch or whatever. But it's everywhere. All over the map in specific places, almost like these totem poles. And the one right here, it's almost like that one's like all over the place. What's trippy is, I thought it was just on the back, right? I'll show you that it actually goes the entire length of the roof. There's a obvious like line being drawn by this layered texture that is mirrored to where you can see that each side is reflecting the other side on a minute level, you know, even to the farther points with this texture.
There's definitely images going up like a totem right by my feet. It looks like two eyes and a mouth. And the more that you look at the totem, the more that you'll see different faces each time molding into each other. And the one thing I liked about the one on the back here, the cool thing about this one is not only do you have the totem of faces that bleed down the wall, right? But when you look at it as a whole, you take a step back, you see like an alien head. You got the big eye right here, another big eye right there, and then you got the mouth right there, the nose right there. And if you take a step back and you look at it, okay, from a little bit of a distance, you could see the alien head right in the wall. It's a big face, and it looks like one of those like bulbous-headed, traditional green or gray aliens with the long arms, short legs, and it just looks like one of those X-File aliens. And if you look in the center of its head, you got that totem of different images and faces as well that go up, and then it bleeds up onto the roof, as you were saying. It's nuts, because a lot of people will point you in the direction and say, stare at this rock for an hour with me. I swear to God, I see a fucking cheetah eating a rabbit, and the rabbit's ass is shitting out a baboon that's holding onto a raccoon, and they're both singing the same song. And it's like, dude, I don't see it. Let me finish my toast. And at the same time, you got shit like this that's really there, which makes it hard to convince other people to even give it their time, because you got so much of the other bullshit. So it's like you really need someone with a fine-tuned eye to give it the minute and look at it. And you were talking about seeing something similar in Sandy Shores. Now we got to make our way out to Sandy Shores anyway, as we want to get a little bit closer to the hippie camp and see what you were talking about with the whole yoga thing. And we know that yoga is very prominent over there, so let's take a little trip down that way, guys. We'll meet you back in a second. Alright guys, so I am parachuting down to Sandy Shores, and me and Shadowman were just talking, and we looked up the definition of Chiliad, because it's always good to brush up your knowledge, because knowledge is power, and we need as much power to conquer this fucking mystery in this game. So we looked up the definition of Chiliad. For those of you that don't know or need a little brushing up lesson yourselves, Chiliad is a noun, and it's a group that contains 1,000 elements. Okay, like 1,000 years, a millennium. So that's what Chiliad means. And we were looking at the mural a minute ago, and we were talking about the different surfaces that kind of have mirrored textures and how there's a lot of pieces. And what were you just saying, Shadowman, that this could be something maybe even grossly bigger than we even thought when looking at the whole definition of Chiliad?
Well, if you think like, you know, this is actually like a Chiliad mystery. You know, if we look at that definition, then that would mean like a mystery involving 1,000 pieces in my perspective. Like, that could be completely off, but like, Rockstar has made us do tedious things a lot in their history, you know, just for fun, like collecting 50 scraps of, you know, a letter, or 50 spaceship parts.
Yes.
For a vehicle that we still have no idea what it does.
Oh my god, dude, you're scaring me because you sound like you're onto something.
It makes
but I don't
horn
want you
sounds
to be.
like the UFOs do for some reason, which is weird.
So this could be bigger than we even thought, guys. So anyone that's out there like naysaying what clues are clues and what clues aren't clues, just remember what the word Chiliad means. This could be a puzzle that's fucking made up of 1,000 different puzzle pieces. So give everything the time of day. At least look into stuff, guys, because you don't know really what this is. Okay, so Shadowman, we are driving down one of the many streets in Sandy Shores here, and there's something that you noticed while paying close attention to the game. What exactly did you find?
If you look at the center of the pavement, you'll notice a symmetrical pattern, almost like a mirrored texture that's symmetrical, that goes all the way down, almost like a seam, in the same way as you see going all around the Mount Chiliad shed.
Yeah, you know what? That is pretty crazy, because not only is it that seam, but as I look a little bit closer at some of this, I almost see part of them faces, like that same type of faces that we have on the back of the wall up at the shed and in other places. Not as clear, but I do see a resemblance of them in that seam, if you will. And it's funny because as we drive down this road, where do we end? We end right at that stunt jump that we can do. So maybe they put certain things like stunt jumps and whatever at certain spots in the game for us to notice certain things like those mirrored images on the road, because you're saying that that isn't on every street, right? This is only certain streets that are somehow luckily picked as to have the mirrored images?
Yeah, because even in Sandy Shores here, if you just keep going on all these streets, you'll notice that it starts becoming more of a random kind of pattern, where it doesn't kind of keep repeating that same image.
Yeah, like they selected certain streets to do that too. So why?
And if you notice, there's a texture that goes straight up. It faces also that one street that has the seam. That's where I noticed it. It goes straight to Mount Chiliad, and then I think it faces the other direction, which would be like Mount Gordo and some of the other mysterious kind of mountains in the game.
That is fucking pretty crazy, dude. And as we take a little drive down this street that turns into like a dirt path that turns into just a bunch of shit as we go towards the water, there is this suspicious location that I brought up before. Very, very, very suspicious. I still don't know what this means. If anyone has any ideas, let us know in the comments. But as we get over here, we notice that there's a circle, almost like a crop circle of rocks in the water. And it's enough for you to actually, depending on the time of day and the water level, you can actually swim at this part. You can actually go underwater, like I just did right there. And I don't know what the point is, but it's so odd. It's so suspicious. It's a circle, and a lot of things aren't on the map. They don't give the attention to the in-game map like they should on certain things. Like I feel like Fort Zancudo should be on the map, and it's not. It'll say it on the bottom left. You'll see the name Fort Zancudo, but we don't see any building structures, any gray boxes like we do for other buildings. As you can see, buildings are highlighted on the map in other locations, but for some reason there's nothing showing us Fort Zancudo on the map. It's just missing. Like, if you didn't know it was there, the map wouldn't be telling you any new news on that situation at all. But when we look over at the situation that we're at right now, the map highlights this circle like it's something important, like it's a landmark or something on the map. Doesn't make any sense. I know that we brought this up before. I've even heard a couple hunters talk about this might be even a finger, as this is a pointer finger pointing directly at this circle, like it's important for something. So maybe as we get further in understanding the map and all the symbolism that Rockstar has used, maybe there will be meaning to this someday. There's really not too much more to focus on with it. I just wanted to bring this situation up as it's right at the end of the street that we were discussing. But that is a crazy situation as well. A lot of crazy things going on in this game, guys. A lot of things that are unexplained still.
It's funny you mentioned crop circles, because when I started looking up different like languages or whatever to try to look at the hippie camp kind of images that you see, trying to decipher it a little bit, one of the images that came up was what was it? I did a search by image and it did crop circle language, or crop circle alphabet or something. And that's been one of the closest I've almost seen to what the glyphs look like, or not glyphs, but the kind of pattern, their design that looks like it's all the way around the hippie camp, almost like some kind of message, which almost looks like, you know, people have speculated Morse code or all kinds of stuff.
Right. You know, that could also be the best thing that I've heard so far that I like the best on that situation over at the hippie camp with those circles. Some people call it the alien code, but my buddy Delta, he was looking into it, and it actually could show kind of how the mural fades. When we started the video off, you were talking about how Trippy said it in the one mystery show, and then you further thought about it. Same situation with the lines on the mural, from left to right, getting from lighter to darker. We have right here, we see the alien code or whatever this is. People have assumed a lot of different things, but as we go around, we notice that they kind of fade out more, and that could be a representation of the sun or the moon above us as it goes through the cycles, as it goes from the west to the east. It could be maybe showing us the rotations of the planets and which ones to focus on, and more relevance with all of that type of stuff with astrology and astronomy. We do see the words over here, beam me up. It says, take me up Uranus, and we do know that Uranus is tied directly to the observatory, and that's when Delta found that plate that has the sun symbol line up perfectly on it when the right solstice was active, and when everything was in the right time, place, and day of the month. The GTA month, for Christ's sakes, was involved, and we had that plate up by the observatory door to show the sun symbol perfectly, because everything was in line and in tune, and that all had to do with the planetary rotations and orbits and all that stuff. And that's a possible answer to what this so-called alien code could be. But I do like that it does the fading just like we seen on the mural that you brought up earlier in the episode, and I think that's pretty fucking crazy, because there could be a definite connection. As you were talking about the mural and the middle box that holds the cracked egg, you were talking about how that's not like the other two boxes, how it's more of a rectangle. Okay, you brought up something about a yoga mat. What exactly were you talking about, Shadowman?
For some reason, because yoga's been such a mysterious kind of part of the game, like, that's just an association I've been curious about, of why for some reason it's a rectangle, you know?
So you think it might have something to do with a yoga mat? That's crazy, because we are at a location where it does resemble the mural in that way, where it fades, okay? And we do have, in story mode at least, people playing up here and doing yoga and stuff like that. I believe it probably is online as well. I'm not too sure, don't quote me, because there is a question that me and Shadow actually had to ask ourselves, and we don't really know for sure. We want your feedback. Shadow, what happened to you during story mode, and what changes with people doing yoga did you notice? I want you to bring this up to people, as I do think it is a pretty amazing observation, and I want to find out exactly how many people noticed the same things.
I believe it was Trippy Commentaries that he mentioned the fact that there's like people you'll find at the top of the hippie camp over here and over on the water towers where there's also like some alien language or whatever, the same kind of depictions that are on the outer rim of the hippie camp here that seem to do yoga. And he even pointed out that you point a gun at them and they do this thing where they put their hands up like they're, you know, like, I surrender or don't shoot me, but then they all of a sudden fall dead. Now, I didn't experience that personally, but I didn't even find any of those people. I looked on my save file for a long time, and it wasn't until I think the first time I actually did yoga on Mount Gordo, because I wrote off the whole yoga thing, just like probably so many people did when I was going through the story, especially because it was my second time through, because I was playing on Next Gen. I beat it on 360 like a few years earlier, and that was when I started noticing these people pop up doing yoga in the map, and I was like wondering, wow, is yoga this like trigger point for really subtle things that we have to really pay attention to? Because maybe they're not even on specific or not on every day, or they're on very specific time schedules or things like that. You know how Rockstar is. They hide things like in plain sight, but...
So what you're saying is that you noticed that in your game, in your single-player game, you didn't see people over at the hippie camp doing yoga. You didn't see people at the alien water towers doing yoga. You didn't see people anywhere fucking doing goddamn yoga, except for when you personally went up and did yoga yourself. That's when you started noticing the NPCs in the game doing yoga. So what you're saying is that there could be possible changes like that happen throughout the game that we might not even notice, and it's up to us to notice these small differences. So if that's what you're saying, I really want everyone's opinion. Everyone that's watching this video, anyone that's heard about this to a friend, anything like that, let us know if you notice in your gameplay, if you notice people playing yoga or doing yoga or whatever before you actually go to perform it yourself. Now let me ask you a question, Shadow. Did this just happen with the Mount Gordo yoga, or did this have anything to do with playing the actual mission? Because you have to do yoga during the mission. Did somebody say yoga? So was that involved, or was it after that fact, or do you remember anything with that?
It was after the mission, because it was actually after I did yoga the second time in the mission for actually the video I did like last week, and that was actually probably the second time I did yoga at all in the game. And when I did that, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go over to Mount Gordo and I'm gonna do yoga there. And then I did that, and then that's when all of a sudden, like, I was actually talking with you the other day while I was just walking around the hippie camp looking around, and then noticed people doing yoga, and I was like, oh my god, like, I remember when Trippy was talking about this, and I looked over and over again at the water tower and at the hippie camp. I remember specifically trying to find these people, and I'm like, why aren't they in my game? What's up with that? Like, maybe is that something that gets triggered? And then after, yeah, they popped up, I was like, wow, that's interesting. And just like that Easter egg that music, or Danny, you talked about the other day, that this does not exist up in the sky. How many things could be potentially just hidden in far off random spots, including like the ocean, and things like that.
I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it, man. It's probably all over the place.
It's like we need like a search crew to go through the ocean, and scan it, like. But that's probably happened a little bit with mods, but.
Yeah, but I believe that there's certain
things.
I believe that stuff's already taken care of by Rockstar. I think that, look at how much time went by before they finally released it for PC. I think that they worked on a lot of the mystery stuff and made sure that mods wouldn't reveal things, certain things with the code wouldn't reveal things, and I'm pretty sure of it. Rockstar knows what they're doing by now. They've been caught before with their hot coffee mods and stuff like that, so... And if you guys...
I thought the same thing.
You know what I mean? So if you guys don't know about the hot coffee mod, go ahead and search that up yourselves. You'll love it. But Rockstar's been through the ringer before.
Learned their lesson.
Yeah, they learned their lesson with people on the PC. Those motherfucking Chiliad busting fucking code hunting motherfuckers crashing the fucking party. they learned their lesson, so they're not gonna have it happen again. They're smart. They got money.
Nutbusters.
Right, those Chiliad nutbusters. They definitely learned their lesson. They're not gonna get found out so easily. So just like an achievement can be ruined. You can't get certain achievements and stuff if you use cheats. Okay, every action has a fucking consequence. Okay, that's the law of Rockstar. And basically, I believe the same kind of line of thought of, using a cheat is ruining your trophies or achievements. I believe that using mods and stuff could possibly deactivate certain triggers. Okay, so if you have a no water mod and you're supposed to touch this leaf or this peyote at the bottom of the ocean, but you're using a no water mod, it's not going to activate the trigger that would have triggered because it needs water on it for it to work. So, basically stuff like that I believe Rockstar has in place. So I don't trust using mods and stuff. If you're going to do hunting, I think it has to be done the good old-fashioned way, in-game, live, straight up off your game save file with no fucking bullshit added. And why is this guy kicking you in the fucking head? Fuck you, motherfucker.
Dude, he just attacked me.
Yoga nutcase, Chiliad bustin' fucking nut creaming fucker.
That tickled. Let's end this off over at Mount Gordo. Maybe Rockstar, because they've even mentioned, in the game, you see in a few places this mention of a red herring. Almost like they, on top of making this thing complicated, they also threw in little carrots to throw you off your path in other directions, And I thought, what more ingenious of a way to hide like the Chiliad Mystery, but to not even put the clues or pieces on Mount Chiliad really at all.
Exactly.
And to put something that helps you find the UFO, but then it's actually representing a completely different mountain.
That's very interesting, and you also think about the Epsilon, and they don't like people with red hair ring. You get it? So there could be a lot of different avenues that Rockstar exploits the whole red herring thing if they're doing it all. And I liked what you said just now about Mount Chiliad possibly not even having the mural represent itself, but a different mountain altogether in the game. Guys, we'll meet you on Mount Gordo. We'll see exactly what Shadowman wants to talk about up there. So here we are. We're on Mount Gordo. We're actually looking at Mount Chiliad. From Mount Gordo, Shadowman, you mentioned before we were coming over here that the mural on Mount Chiliad could maybe be resembling or representing a different mountain than Mount Chiliad, maybe Mount Gordo. We're on Mount Gordo. What exactly did you want to bring up?
Well, I found it kind of interesting, this whole concept that Rockstar could have just been trying to throw us off completely. Maybe also on top of it being like a 1,000-piece puzzle, you know how Rockstar can be.
Right.
But I went to the lighthouse over there, and when I was thinking of the whole yoga thing recently, I started looking at Mount Gordo, and when I started searching around, there's like a lot of anomalies on Mount Gordo. There's like 4 or 5 just weird things on there. There's that golden tree, and there's like there's something I'll show you in a minute. There's like this rock that seems like hollow underwater, and then at the lighthouse, it seems like if you look at the Mount Gordo, and if you take a picture of the mural and you look at it and kind of compare it, you might notice that the edges line up like a lot better than I've almost ever seen, in my perspective. I could be completely wrong, than it is on Mount Chiliad, because it's always bugged me that when we do our transparent kind of overlay of Mount Chiliad, I've always been like, those lines don't, exactly match up, and I'm anal about that. I'm like, this is supposed to fit. It should fit perfectly, And Mount Gordo, it's funny because if you look from the lighthouse, the faded lines, it matches up if you think of them as the grooves of one little path on the left side that comes down instead of the actual shape of the outer edge of the mountain. And that's maybe why it's faded, that it's showing its grooves, its patterns in the mountain. And there's little digs and patterns all around etched in Mount Gordo. Like crazy.
That's really awesome, and tying into what we already brought up today with the whole yoga we do have yoga here on Mount Gordo, and it seems odd because it's only Mount Gordo and Michael's house that we can do yoga, and it seems like it's such a prominent factor in the mystery. A lot of people are convinced that yoga is part of the answer, so why is it only Mount Gordo and Michael's house? And then we have what you just brought up, how the lines outlining the mural on Mount Chiliad don't really fit when looking at Mount Chiliad. It's not really the same outlines as the mural, but when looking at Mount Gordo from the perspective of being near the lighthouse, you seem to see it line up a lot better to the mountain that we are looking at, that's depicted on the mural on Mount Chiliad. And then you went and explained about the lines and how they fade on the mural and how it makes sense with the mountain. That's some pretty fucking good information, dude. I'm gonna actually on some free time, I'm gonna go and check it out, some different perspectives when standing at the lighthouse. The lighthouse, don't forget guys, is very important. I put out a video a little while ago showing how at the very early morning hours, when the sun comes up, it casts a light obviously onto the lighthouse, but the shadow is like an eye, a perfect eyeball on like the staircase leading up to none other than Ursula's house, which is another big, huge, prominent, relevant situation within the mystery, as Ursula, when she gets fucked, produces lightning and thunder and all that other fun electrifying information. So a lot of great stuff being brought up here, man. I really do like the path that you're on and what you're talking about. That's pretty cool shit, dude. Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and check out one more quick thing before we end out the discussion. Shadowman, you're gonna show us something that is pertaining to sound. Now, I'm glad that you're doing that because I brought up a video talking all about sound and how I think it's very important in solving this mystery. And you actually found something that you noticed you can hear better and stuff when you're using headphones. I'm interested to see what you got. So guys, meet us over at the bottom here, and we're gonna go ahead and see exactly what Shadowman is gonna go ahead and show us. Okay guys, we are on Mount Gordo still. Shadowman wants to show us one last thing. We're gonna zoom in so you guys can see this location. There's not much little spots of water that's on the map here on Mount Gordo. There's only a couple, and we got a smaller one over here, and we got a bigger one over here. Shadowman, you found something pertaining to sound in this water. What exactly did you notice?
I was checking around Mount Gordo, and one thing that's really trippy to know too is when you look up the definition of Gordo, of course, it's like slang in Spanish usually for like say overweight, and it can be like an affectionate term for maybe somebody you love that's like overweight. But one other one is jackpot.
Really?
The jackpot. Yeah.
Are you serious?
It literally says that when you look it up. And then it also says not all mentally or physically there, which makes sense too because Mount Gordo has all these weird anomalies, almost like it's not finished. There's glitches and stuff here, if you call them glitches, that don't make sense for Rockstar's quality level on some levels, you know, like little cracks you see in the mountain and stuff like that, and the textures and weird stuff. But this rock right here, if you go underwater and you just punch it, or it's almost best if you have like a knife or something. I don't have a weapon in online mode that works good for that, but you can still hear it if you just punch it underwater, and you'll hear a loud thud. It's this one that's in the center.
So this rock right here, when you hit it, it makes a different noise than maybe other rocks that you've hit.
Yeah, I would recommend turning up your sound effects volume. And it's funny because it's not as loud in online mode.
Oh, I hear it. Wow, that is, oh my gosh, that is really crazy, dude. It's like a poof, like it's a hollow rock. It's
exactly.
Not a normal sound. You know, that's really awesome that you found that, man. That not a lot of hunters come up to me with sounds and stuff that they heard. And you know what's funny is that this is right at a location where we find a peyote. And I've mentioned before that they put the letter scraps, the spaceship parts, the peyotes, all the collectibles in the game at certain and specific locations, places where clues are nearby or things are able to be heard or seen. So the fact that there's a peyote that we can find right here in single player mode really sparks my interest more to this location. And I love that you looked at the definition of Gordo and found out that it also means jackpot. I mean, we do know that the other parts of the definition make sense. You said maybe like overweight or heavy or whatever. We do know that Gordo the boar is a legendary animal in Red Dead Redemption, but it also means jackpots. Now that's pretty crazy, because maybe the answer is on Gordo. Maybe, like you said, maybe the outline of the mural on Mount Chiliad is actually outlining Mount Gordo, and Mount Gordo is a place of many different anomalies, like you said, including the only other place for yoga, and all these crazy glitches like rocks that you could shoot that fall down that are hovering, golden trees, and don't forget that huge Easter egg that we had with Bigfoot and the Beast. Took us all around Mount Gordo as we were listening for the Beast and hunting him down as Bigfoot. Shadowman, you brought some amazing fucking stuff to the table today, man. I'm very interested in a lot of this stuff. I have a lot of following up to do now on all the information that you brought to the table, and I know that you have a whole bunch more information. So guys, definitely check out his channel. Show him some love. Another fellow friend and mystery hunter, Shadowman. I want to give it up to you, man. Great job today. Great discussion. I'd love to see you on some future episodes, some future discussions, and hopefully we could do this again soon, because there's a lot to cover here. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and link his Twitch, his YouTube, everything that he's got, his Pornhub account. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to save that for myself.
Yeah, make sure to do that one too. I'm the Italian stallion on there.
Pornhub community. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. Shadowman, thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it, man. It was an awesome
Thanks
awesome
for having
discussion.
me, man. Yeah. Yeah, you have a great rest of your night, man. Enjoy, everybody. And make sure to like and subscribe to MusicVidiot's channel, and make sure to tap that little bell so you can make sure when he's coming out with a video that you get notified right away, because YouTube can be weird. It won't let you know. Why doesn't it tell you?
Definitely. Thank you so much, man. And don't forget, definitely, guys, if you like the content, hit the subscribe button. It's that red button somewhere on the page, and it's completely free, so why not? Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and link everything that Shadowman has to offer, Pornhub, in the description. Make sure you click on that and have fun. And remember, if you shake it more than twice, you are playing with yourself. Until next time.
My best one is a $5 foot long. Look that one up.
Oh, lick that one up, did you say? Oh, when did this become a
Yeah,
porn
that's
episode?
one of my best videos. Oh, sorry. I mean, yoga. It's a yoga episode related to GTA. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Shadow, thank you again. And until next time, guys, take it easy. Ta-ta. And as motherfucking always, peace.